Hello guys, this is Nikki, also known as Facelesstrader, and you're watching the Awesome 10X live market update for the Philippines. It's already on Monday, December 1. Sorry, it's a Tuesday, December 1, 2020, and it's the last month of the year. So let's begin. Now, you could see that the market is up 218 points, up 3%, and definitely the people actually were hunting for bargains in the market. You could see the Jollibee, Cebu Pacific, a lot of dips last week, Meralco, that were actually taken advantage of by the market. Let's take a look at your index first. Market value remains very strong at 9.86 billion pesos. Your index, all shares, financials, industrials, holdings, properties, mining, and even services. Most of the industries are up. You've got 119 advancers, 102 decliners. Even if there are some profit taking, so foreign selling is 1.3 billion, you'll notice that a majority of the market is still actually in a very bullish mode, such that it is still too early to be selling and taking profits. I understand some people are taking profits, but actually there's just rotation happening in the market. So take a look at the index movers. I'm going to read the prices for you. SM is 1,019, SM Prime is 38, Ayala Land is 39.75. Take note that when SM Prime and Ayala Land hit the 35 areas, they were being bought. Same as for SM, when it hit below 1,000, it was being bought. GG Summit 68.50. I think this one fell as low as about 65. 65.25, and see the reversal move for the day. So it was really a very strong recovery. Actually, it's not considered a recovery. It's more like people are really just taking profits last week, and they're actually buying it back on that dip. Take note at the movers. Let's take a look at all the prices. ICT is now back to 124, up 6%. AEV up 5%. Telephone back to 5%, up 1380. Your Meralco is up 6%, doing 300 bucks. Your Jollibee is up 4%. GT Cap is up 6% to 620. Your BDO is back 105, but very small gain. Your SMC is 135, 5% up. Take note that Robinson's Land is up 5% at 17.46. AC is just steady, 1% up, 830 pesos. LTG is 1358, MPI is 423, your Mega World is 380, Globe is 1970, Robinson's Retail is 69, AP 26, AGI is 10, Emperador is 10, DMC is 560 unchanged, URC is unchanged at 142, Pure Gold is 4205, Bloomberry 887, FGen 29, Metro Bank 4780, Security Bank 122, BPI is 80 bucks. Actually, amongst the index names, I'd say that the one that is actually being accumulated were actually still your Laggard plays. And we'll see that actually when you take a look at the index movers, take a look first on the gainers, go to the stats. You'll notice that, yes, there were some people profit-taking on your FA, and at 70 cents today, it rallied to 79 cents. Still, though, these levels might actually be already, it's a leader, but I'm not sure if the market truly likes leaders. They are actually buying a lot of laggards. You could see that happening when Shell Philippines was actually being bought as a laggard play. It's now trading at 20.8, up 5%. It traded even as high as 21 plus a few hours ago. Now you could see that the market is actually preferring a lot of laggard names. Take note, GT Cap 620 is a laggard move. Cebu Pacific is actually a laggard move, 50 bucks, because these are your reopening plays. These are actually considered laggards. And next year, the laggards are actually going to be the leaders. These positions are expected to actually be the stronger ones next year. Your Meralco is just stable, so 300, 310, 320, probably steady there. ICT, also actually, this is more of a growth play. The problem with ICT is that it was never really a laggard. If you take a look on ICT, it was already a leader ever since. Take note, in the last 6 months, it has been crawling up from 95 all the way to 125. The dip was taken advantage of, but I think this one is just a steady climb all the way up to 140. So it's not like gonna go 40, 50% up higher, given that it's already a leader. And so we have to take take a look at some names that can still go 30% higher given they have been laggards. One of the laggards, but very low volume, is ABS. So 7 million, we won't consider that. We need the volumes to be confirming. Your SM Prime is not really gonna go higher because you've got resistance at 40 bucks. You've got resistances for Robinson's Land at 20. Take note that for Shell Philippines, also some resistances at 22 and 24. Nicolasia is trading at 480. However, Nicolasia at about 5 bucks might have some selling pressure. So that is your top gainers for the day. Let's take a look at some losers. Losers, okay, this is a very big loser. BPI, 1 billion pesos. We'll take a look at whether BPI can be taken advantage of because financials are a laggard sector. Take note that financials can actually be a rebound play next year, given that, of course, the banks as a sector are considered laggards from the pandemic because it's going to take a while before those loans are paid. A lot of people are still skeptical on those loans. So you'll see whether these loans will widen the losses next year or whether the year has priced in all the worst losses for the banks such that there will never be any surprise come next year. So you are seeing some, that is really the biggest loser only BPI. The other losers are 17 million, 16 million. Although there is a profit-taking move here on Petron and Inflex Petroleum, it's very small to actually consider that. So most active, let's take a look on that. Most active, BPI is the largest drop. So BPI is gonna be taken a look at whether we should pick it up here at 80 or should it wait 75 or lower. Phoenix Petroleum down 2%, Metro Bank. So the drops are too little. So there's no huge bargain there. The market actually took the positions only last Friday. A lot of the bargains, all these 6% ups, were actually taken advantage of already. So yeah, it was happening intraday, not yeah. So you could see that the market was really just being bought out all throughout. So we'll see. Let's take a look. Your Ascens continue to be very strong at about 6 bucks. So steady lang. Your Merrimart, Ascen, and FA, they are the leaders, but I'm not sure if they will continue to be the leaders next year. Because I do think that there might be rotation towards the laggards, and the laggard group would actually be either the energy names like Petron and Shell Philippines, laggard names like airlines like Cebu Pacific and Macro Asia, laggard names like conglomerates like a GT Cap. So yeah, I mean, I think that the retail sector, such as your SSI, is a laggard play. So these are laggards that will probably continue to get some loving next year. I'll take a look at your questions and we'll go to the charts of your questions. Let's go to the comments first. Happy Christmas month. Happy Christmas month to you too. Hi, Nikki. I need your advice. Can I sell part of my ASEN? The proceeds of which I will use to buy the ASEN SRO later. It will also reduce my exposure. Is this a good move? Thanks. So I do agree with that. Like some people are entitled to buy ASEN at 2.37. If they already have 100,000 shares of ASEN, those 200, let's assume that your cost is say $2.50, 2 peso 50 cents. So your 250,000, you are available to buy another 90,000 shares at 237. So just for clarity's sake, let's say it's another 250,000 pesos. Instead of you depositing 250,000 pesos on your account, you could actually just sell 250,000 peso worth of ASEN. That would be about 40,000 shares at current level of 630, 628. So yes, you can sell that so that you could pay for your ASEN SRO. I am okay with that. Okay, if I earn 300,000 in the Philippine market and I don't have a global account, what is your advice? I think that you could use $6,000. So I do think that the Philippine market will continue to go higher selectively. There will be some companies that are still reopening pandemic plays that will continue to flourish next year. But I do think that there will be rotation. So you have been seeing San Miguel has risen. These are your laggard picks because in the last 10 months, San Miguel really did nothing. And then only in the last month, San Miguel kept climbing. So I think like the market is really doing a lot of rotation. the leaders might not be the leaders next year. It could still be the leader. However, without a significant catalyst, after rising maybe 500% or 300% for this year alone in 2020, I don't think that that outperformance will continue next year. So there might be some shifting of the positions. Rotation might happen even within the Philippine sector outperformers. Now, what do you do with your gains? First of all, congratulations for your gains. You could actually deposit that gain. 300,000 is about $6,000. You could make an account, like open interactivebrokers.com. There will be a lot of IPOs coming out. I'll give you a heads up. There are at least 5 to 10 upcoming IPOs that are really high quality. I'll mention some of them: Roblox, Airbnb, Affirm, Oatly is coming out, Tonal is coming out. That's just 5 IPOs coming out. Either December or January, some of them. And Financial Group got delayed, so they're gonna list next year. There's also JD Health IPO that's gonna be in Hong Kong. And if my recollection is correct, there's at least 5 to 10 more special purpose acquisition companies listing this December. And actually, for those people who don't know, there's so many opportunities worldwide. We're not just talking about the US, we're talking about really the world. So maybe you aren't aware, but the CD Projekt is listed in Poland. I think CD Projekt is also going to go higher. There's really a ton of opportunities. Just watch our Awesome 10X YouTube channel. Follow me on Facelesstrader at Twitter. You'll notice that some of our picks are going 20%, 50% up within a week. Sometimes 100% even. So I think like you should just know that there are like super duper secular trends, whether it be 5G, artificial intelligence, wearables. Some solars and electric vehicles might actually be too extended, so they might get some pullbacks. People who have money can actually get those pullbacks if they get a 20 to 30% drop. So I think that there are actually a lot of opportunities worldwide, not just Philippines. So it's good to actually invest in the world. So I have some Philippine exposure, but really I have a huge exposure abroad. I think that we have to be exposing ourselves to everything in the world. But there are a lot of value opportunities that remains in the Philippines. So I think that the Philippines isn't exactly a full sell. Actually, there are some opportunities remaining in the Philippines. Do you think that the market can actually pull back at 6.4 PSEI level? Okay, so for the market to pull back at 6.4, your financials, your conglomerates, your banks are the predominant big league in the Philippine market. Your properties are the big league. So for that to go down to 6.4, your Metrobank, BPI, BDO should fall really hard, around 10% from current level. And your Ayala Corp and your SM and SM Prime Ayala Land should fall. I think that it is not impossible to assume that can happen. However, I'll say that the side of the probability might be lower for December and January, given the Moderna vaccines are actually positive influence for a market like ours. Lifesaver is asking, should we buy Lopez to avail the tender offer? So these are Laggard related names. I'd have to read further. Okay, so let's read the Lopez tender offer for everyone's understanding. Lopez Holdings tender offer. So Lopez Holdings is delisting from PSE 2 hours ago. First Philippine Holdings announces an intent to conduct a tender offer, acquiring between 900 million to 2 billion shares. They're going to delist it. It's part of its ownership of consolidating. Let's read it, everything. So I think like this is the reason why people are pushing up some laggards, because ABS is part of Lopez Holdings, and the delisting might actually mean that these conglomerates will just be a single entity. First Philippine Holdings is announcing its intent to conduct a tender offer at a premium price of $3, 3 peso 85 cents. They are doing a voluntary delisting, and they are saying that they have ultimately, the parent company will not participate in the tender offer. It is a 25% higher price to 307. Salvador Tirona, chief officer, said that if this is successful, Lopez will be delisted and streamline the Lopez Group's corporate structure. It is a good sign when you see an offer for your shares with a significant premium. We will be happy for the shareholders to decide to avail of this opportunity to liquidate their investment. This was due to the net loss recorded by ABS as well as lower revenues. Okay, so I think like it is a small short-term catalyst for the shares indeed to go higher. Let's take a look at that chart. Let's go to chart of Lopez, LPZ. So LPC has been rallying from 2 pesos to 3 pesos. Definitely in the last 5 years, this is down somewhere from 8. They're going to delist it at 385. So the people who bought this at a really sad price of 6 pesos or 8 pesos have to nurse at least a 50% loss. A delisting is really a tender offer wherein all the shares will be out of the market. For those people who are entering at 3, then they have the gain. However, those who are a loss of about 4 to 8 costs will really suffer a tremendous loss. I'm not sure if the tender offer will be successful. However, given that this tender offer is really, I guess, like usually forced majority yan eh. So if the minority really are very small, if majority of the people accept that tender offer price of 385, yes, chances are Lopez will be delisted at 385. That is a significant premium from 3 pesos today. So people who want to get in at about 3 pesos for that tender offer price next couple of months, if that ensues, is also okay. Robinson's Land 17.8, DD 15. Is this a good price? Well, Robinson's Land, we gave a buy at about 15.50. I think Double Dragon here at about 15 is still a good entry point for those who are looking for laggards, laggard properties. Nonetheless, whether Robinson's Land hits 20 to 22 or 23, 24, you've got those resistances intact. But very strong bias for buying Robinson's Land every lower entry. Even if you buy at 17.8, if it's a very small position, you might be able to sell it at 20 plus. And if you're wrong that it does go down to 16 areas, I think that you have a lot of buyers, even at 16 plus areas. So happy month of December. Actually, Nikki, I was inspired by the tweets of the reflections that you posted recently. Thank you very much. So actually, like I tweeted some 2010, those are really 2010 tweets in my Twitter account. So my Twitter is at Facelesstrader. I really used to be a trader, and it's so exhausting to be a trader. So to be honest, I think like right now I am able to just really investing in companies that I truly believe in allows me to actually just sleep well. So I really have a diversified portfolio. I have many sectors, and I teach that. That's why most of the clients that we teach on well, we really try to look for the best companies. So there are companies in the Philippines, but also companies abroad. You've noticed, of course, that in the Philippines, we try to really just go with the global trends. So the global secular trend was renewable energy, electric vehicle beneficiaries. So that would be your ASEAN and nickel. And you could see that it was just really a steady climb up. There are the reopening themes, of course, your Macro Asias, your Cebu Pacifics, your restaurants like your Jollibees, your Pizza and Maxes, which even your casinos. So the thing about these reopening rallies is that it could have some resistances every 100% move, every 50% move, because there are some resistances given that they are reversing. So Kobe is asking, why are they selling MAC? Most likely it's a resistance play. Between trading and investing, I find myself far more profitable actually investing. So I do buy and sleep. Since most of my positions are mostly global, I do just buy and sleep, and I teach people how to buy, construct a portfolio, and sleep. So far, so good. Many triple-digit gains, not just for me, but also for clients who also joined Awesome 10X. So just wanted to shout out to everyone to also join Awesome 10X. We are giving classes for people. We have actually this December 5, a class where parents can actually encourage parents and children to learn how to globally invest. We will teach kids. It's Awesome 10X Kids Camp, but parents are actually, how do I say this? Parents are encouraged to join so that instead of buying a Nintendo Switch for your child, probably own some Nintendo stock as well. And we would show to you that if you invested even just $200 per company, let's say we give 30 companies, buy and sleep, that $6,000 is realistic to go another 50% or another 100%. Doesn't matter if you enter June, July, August, September, October, November, December. we can give you many companies that will continue to grow your money, because we're thinking about awesome 10x trends for a decade, not really for 10 days. Okay, Lifesaver is asking, DMC and Shell Philippines, are they breaking out? I believe that Shell Philippines is actually the breakout move for the day. DMC is not a breakout, but DMC is just steady. So DMC is just sleeping here. So it's just sleeping. So still below $6. It's trying to reverse from $3 to 6. That would be your first resistance. Every 100% move, you've got resistance. And you're seeing the same thing play out for your Shell Philippines. The thing about Shell is that it went as low as 14. You've got more resistances at 34. Given that it's still within that 25 to 30% above these lows of the year, you've got more people actually doing bargain hunting here. So we were saying that Shell Philippines and Petron were Laggard related plays. Take note, this has gone from 14 to 20, very strong move, very little shallow pullback, because the market was truly looking for some Laggard picks. And from a Laggard perspective, this one passes that Laggard test. 1950 is still so this is really the breakout area, 1950. And then you've got these resistances at 24 and even as high as 29. This one is actually still gonna be a buying area if you can buy this at 19.5 below, or even not 19.5. Even if you bought today, let's say you bought today at $20, assuming buying 20 all the way to 19 or 18, you're buying 5% here with leeway to go further here. We're talking about 5% exposure. So if it's a 100,000 account, it's a 5,000 peso account. So typically, most people might not be. So the problem is, if it's a very small account, like if it's a 100,000 peso account, you might think na it's a 5,000 pesos, it's too small. But actually, in the US, we also do that. Even if the account is just $2,000, we do exemplify diversification. So 5% all the way to about 15% is really what we do. And you can see naman from most of our testimonials that everyone is happy with the diversified portfolios. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Agree. This is a video, and it's yeah. Please help increase and share this video to every friend of yours. People are asking, is BPI a buy? Is this still a good buy? Macro Asia, is this still a good buy around 8 pesos? So, okay, so let's answer both Macro Asia, and there are questions. MAC at 8, all HC, what do you think? BPI, is this a buy? Okay, let's answer all of that. Okay, so BPI is actually one of the strongest movers when it comes to the financials, only second in my view to East West, right? So take note that from 48, this rallied to as high as 92, almost doubling. The other banks were never really doubling. Of course, that presupposes that the banks never fell down much in the first place, right? So East West, you could see also from 6 rallied to 12, nearing double. So actually, most of the time, upon hitting a double, usually you need more catalysts rather than just a reopening theme. So in my view, what happened with BPI was just a natural profit taking. Very strong supports here now at 75 if it will ever fall. So if you're buying today at 80, it's okay because it looks like you are able, as long as it's not like all in. Let's say you buy 81, 80, all the way to 75. I don't think that goes to 66 anyway. So your downside is very small if you buy today. And then take a look. In the last 3 years, is buying 81 a good entry? In the last 3 years, you're still at the median of the level from about 81 to 77. So think about it. The pandemic just gave everyone an opportunity to make 50% easy money, or sometimes 100%. However, in the next 3 to 5 years, when the banks actually recover, you have the leeway for banks to actually recover at least to $100. So the upside of BPI is not too high. It's not going to give you a huge reward. It's not a laggard because BPI actually led the financial move. Who are the laggards of the financials? Take note that the following companies. This is actually a laggard. BDO is a laggard. Take note that it used to trade at 135, granted. Today it's 105. These are the laggard plays on the banks. Now, you could say it's not really a laggard because in the last 5 years, at the very least, your BDO has really at least gone above 95, right? So 105 is the same price in the last 2016. It's an outperformer if you're thinking in the last 5 years. However, if you're So it really depends on your time frame. Is BDO truly a laggard or is it a leader? The way I see it, these banks are still at a neutral zone. It isn't a leader because if it was a leader, diba, it would have been taking us all-time highs. But the fact that it isn't even trading there means that it is still in that laggard space. Let me show you some laggards. No, of course, the restaurants are a laggard piece. They are considered leaders only in the sense that, yes, they rallied from 99 to 197. However, if you look at the last 5 years, Jollibee here at 190 can really go higher still to 240 or 250 next year. Granted, you might not be able to get it back at 140. So those who got this level at 140 below should actually just hold on to your shares and wait it out next year. What do people say about Macro Asia? So this is a question mark, no? Macro Asia was actually given, well, of course, pandemic reopening. So yes, this was actually mentioned as one of the best reopening picks, even as early as 4 below. What do you do at 8? That is already a double. This was even low at 285 here, no? You've got these resistances definitely. First resistance at 9 and 10. However, notice that there will be some flags here. And I don't think since you can get it at 5 below, it's probably never going to go 5 anymore. So the entry points of Macro Asia would really be those 7 areas, 7 to 8. If you're buying this Macro Asia at 8, as long as you have leeway to buy at 7, you still have a leadership mode here on Macro Asia. I think there's also news that Macro Asia has a joint venture water deal. But actually, I don't think that is really the reason why people are buying Macro Asia in the first place. They're really just picking up a lot of laggard themes. Ayala Land Logistics is also, well, this isn't really a laggard. Logistics isn't a laggard sector. This is actually more like a leading sector. That said, and you could see that this was one of the movers from about 140, 110 here, already $3 now. Take note though that these resistances at 345 all the way to 390 are intact. So those who have all HC should be aware that there might be some selling pressure here. So you need to just be aware that the resistances are there. So should you sell them, you want to actually rotate them to the laggards that will still go higher next year. So BPI is a good entry point, actually 81 below. GT cap, is this a hold? Yes, you hold on to it. Looks like the current levels of 570, 580. You're seeing a higher low base for GT cap, so you might as well wait it out. Should I continue to hold on MRC or sell it with a 50-40% profit and look for other reopening stocks or prepare for IPOs that you just mentioned? So some people are actually happy to take profits already before the year ends. That's also a valid strategy. So I do think that there are opportunities in IPOs. Roblox is coming out in the US. So these are companies that you might actually consider, but you have to open an account abroad. So we identify these companies as really great opportunities for you. IPO, I don't know the exact date, but they filed already. So that's December. So you still have time to open an account for these IPOs in the US. And of course, next year's IPOs. What else? Why are the foreigners selling Cebu Pacific? Actually, I don't think that they are really I don't really mind if foreigners are selling because the point is airlines are still a laggard sector. From $100, it's now down to 30, rallied to 50. Yes, I guess there will be some selling pressure at $60 or even at 71. However, I don't think this is really a sector that is to be sold. So we have been opining for quite a while now that that these Robinson's Land, Cebu Pacific, all of these names are laggards that should be picked up. So far, we are correct. They have been picking up, but this isn't really late. I don't think that the foreigners are to be taken a look at. In the first place, you're able to buy your Macro Asias at 350 below because there were some foreign selling. So it really is about your time frame. What will be max first resistance? Probably 9 and 10. ASEN, is this still good? Well, I think the leadership of ASEN cannot be sold down much. However, I think that you are late already for entering this name. If there are opportunities for it to go 20% below, then maybe you have an entry. But I don't think that you should chase if you are already late. Probably try to look at some sectors that haven't truly rallied yet. So the biggest sector in my idea would be what you call the bad stocks. Cebu Pacific is called a bad stock because airlines were bad in the pandemic. Airlines is considered a bad stock because they were bad in a pandemic. But these are actually the bad names that will continue to be good next year. So rallied, even as it rallied from 4 to 750, I do think it can rally to as high as 11 your maxes next year or next year. So I would still consider casinos, airlines, and restaurants really as the sector to be in. These are still rallying mode, and even to a certain extent, your financials. So your BPI would probably rally further. Of course, your properties have been rallying. You've seen some property laggards starting to move up because, of course, they are laggards. They are laggards for a reason. This year might have been a harder year for them. Next year could be a better year for them. So it's not about what happened this year. It's about what's going to happen next year. And in my view, with these laggards presenting some opportunities, your Shell Philippines on dips would be bought. Your Petron might be bought on a dip. Take note, these moves. These are laggard-related moves, no? Slept for about 9 months and then only rallied. San Miguel slept for 9 months and then only started to rally. So those would be the sectors to be in. The laggards would be the sectors to be in, not the leaders. The leaders, I think they would already be taken profits from. The biggest moves on them have been done. 500% moves from your ASEN, your Nicolasia. Your FA might have been, I'm not sure if it will still go higher, but I think that there will be rotation. It doesn't mean that your ASEN, FA, Merrimark, that's done. However, after a very strong move, it might be profit taken. So Fly is still a laggard. It's okay. Laggards are still to be held if you have them. If you have a laggard that hasn't rallied 200% from the lows or 100% from the lows, that is considered a laggard. Just take a look at their year-to-date performance. If they aren't really, if they're still 50 to 60% down from last year, then those are considered laggard sectors. And if we have a reopening theme next year, those would still be the best ways to bet your money. Okay, thank you very much, guys, and thanks for the questions. Bye-bye. Please don't forget to